Good morning, I'm Norma Cowie, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This morning on a Sunday thought, of course, and if you're living in the area where your clocks go back, it always is complicated. When in the spring they go forward and fall they go back. But what does it actually mean is there's an alignment and makes it that we have more sun in the summertime and probably less of everything in the winter. It just seems we're going into winter here so quickly. But really, what I wanted to talk about is what do you do with your time? There was a time when I was incredibly busy. Business, kids, husband. So it was like having to figure out how to make time work for me. And what I found worked really, really well is to schedule it. And one day I actually had someone ask me, how did I get everything done? And I had to think about it. I really did. I had to think about, okay, what do I do that makes it that I get everything done in a day? Because the business took a lot of time and energy. Kids or teenagers take a lot of time and energy. Just generally all the things that you need to do. And I used to do it, but timely, like in the sense I would say, okay, I'm going to do this and that till 10 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, I might take a break for about half an hour or so, just kind of refresh myself. And then from then to say 2, I would work on another project or another thing to do. Of course, I had to slot in kids' sports and other things. But over time, I found it worked. And it worked really, really well by being conscious of time. And even today, I was sitting this morning and I went, okay, by this time I'll have a shower. By this time, and then at this time, I'll make sure I'm ready. And then I'll make a cup. Well, I had already made a cup of tea, which is sitting here with me. And so it's like I figure it all out. So then I know when I need to sit down in front of the computer to get ready for today or any other day that I'm working on here on the different shows. It's a habit forming element that you think about time. It didn't happen naturally. Most of us just want to glide along, but I'm just saying that if you have trouble with managing time, one way is to become very, very conscious of it. What are you going to do? Say, some of the people work. Okay, what time do you leave for work? How long do you need before you get up? Most people have figured that out. But what is the time period, say, in your lunch hour? What do you do there? Is there something that you can do to lessen your load at home? Is there, what time do you get off work? Well, how long does it take you to get back home? I've been privileged that for the majority of my life, I was at home working. Or even though I went out for many years, had a job out. And even then I was very timely. I was very lucky. My husband then was in university and he would get home before me. So he would cook up soups, and he was very good at soups and stews and things. And he would have the kids and often bathe and everything else by the time I got home, because I had quite a drive in the traffic. So this is about cooperation as well. When you're in a home, and you're figuring out timely things. When are we going to have time for this, that, or the other? Over the years, I've talked to a lot of people as a reader, as a teacher, all those things. And what I find very often is people don't always sit down with their partners and really figure out how they can manage time, where they can come together and have time together, because that's very, very important. If you're in a partnership, you need to arrange personal time. And when you've got a family, whether it's 2, 4, or 6, they have to be considered, but you still have to make time for yourselves, because what happens is you evolve away from what the mutual goals are. And that's when a lot of complications come, when you haven't had conversations, when you haven't communicated, when you haven't said, I'm tired out, I just need a night off or something like that. Excuse me. So therefore, I know I'm a person that would love to see our times just stay the same all year long because we don't have to go through this time shift. It really does. Like I was awake hours before I needed to this morning, hours, even though we know that any electronics that you've got, like your phone, like your computer, automatically makes the time shift. Never used to in the old days, by the way, but it does now. And I knew that. I knew that I had my alarm set for a certain time that I usually get up when I do my morning shows, and which gives me lots of time to get ready, especially as I'm not moving as well as I used to these days. But I still found myself waking up hours before, checking the time, and of course I haven't put my clocks, but I didn't put my other clocks back last night, so they're all showing the old time. So it's like habit and what do you do and how to do it. I know I will have, by the end of the day, I will have all the clocks, and I have a lot of clocks because I always like to know what time it is wherever I am in my house. So therefore, I'm going to, in the sense of talking about time, without sounding like I'm a time freak, but I learned to be able to create and do all the things I had to do because I was incredibly busy and had a schedule like this at that time. I came to learn to be very timely and to figure out how everything would run smoothly in the household. And what I have found when people have come to me having difficulties with home and family and things like that is that they're not timely. They have no idea about time and how long it takes or what it does. It just, they sort of just go along. And that's a privilege if you want to do it that way. But the reality is you're not going to be as successful and you're not going to achieve your goals as easily either. So therefore, it's when I was sitting down yesterday actually and thinking about what am I going to talk about tomorrow? And then a little voice said to me, Norma, the clocks are going back. It's in time. And so it's wonderful for us. And my eye just went over and I just saw Karen B, one of our wonderful followers. She says, in Arizona, we thankfully stay the same. Yes, I know. I've been in Arizona. It is nice. I was concerned when you weren't on at 9 a.m. their time, and I realized it's 10 a.m. here. Because we're now an hour behind everything. And that will stay. So I'm glad for your concern, but everything is actually fine. And it's just a matter for us here having to adjust. And and I do work off BC time, which is pretty well the West Coast, I believe, the whole West Coast. Anyhow, I just want to say, and thanks, Karen B, for that. That's good information. Yeah, I could have come on at 9 o'clock and everyone would be here, would be wondering what's going on. I'd already been and gone. So that's one of the things I don't like about it, because my regular time is going to be shifted by an hour all the way along. So anyway, I really trust, and there's a time change for a good part of the world. We all do it comfortably. I know a lot of my family's in New Zealand, and right now there's a lot of, because my brother is not very well, we're going back and forth. And you see, they have an interesting time thing that goes on too. So all that time has to be now considered as well. So there's an interesting element about time. And I will admit, I am very prejudiced. If they just left it alone, it'd be easy. We would adjust and everything would work very well. And where I am in British Columbia, we're for it. But the states below us are not. I believe that Washington and Oregon are not for changing. So we're stuck. So following the leader along. So anyway, the whole thing about this talk, even though I've been a little sidetracked, I don't think that's unusual, but I do that, is that think about how you handle time. Are you timely? Do you show up for your appointments on time or a little before? Are you always scrambling for time? If you are, if you're scrambling for time, if you're not timely, I'm just going to say, start thinking in relation to time. Makes the days go quicker. It makes you feel more in command of your life. It just gives a whole different attitude to how, what, when, and where to create and to be. Anyway, that's my Sunday thought to this morning, and I wish you all well. And Karen, thank you so much for being so consistent. I sure appreciate it. And so I want you to have a great day. I'm going to be back here on Wednesday. Of course, it will be 9 BC time, 10 in Arizona, and maybe in many other places because we won't be on the regular timeline. But it's timeline I have to be on because I live in this time zone. So you take care of and enjoy the day. I haven't even looked outside because it's all being, what do you call it, cloudy and dark, and my joints don't like it very much. So I don't want to go look at it because I just get frustrated. Oh, I'm just wondering if I should say this. I was down with a good friend of mine, and we were having a cup of chai looking at the lake, just sitting in the car, looking at the lake, chatting. And all of a sudden I said to her, and I never took a picture of this, so I have no way of saying this when I said, is that a spaceship out there? And there was this big black thing in the sky, and the cloud had sort of moved off. And as we were watching, the cloud kind of came back. And what I do know, they can generate clouds. And she looked up too and said, I think that's right. That's like a big spaceship. I said, yeah, it's a big one too. And it's close. And it was pure black. I've never seen that in the sky. And I've lived there's a lot of cloud activity, a lot of skies, very different. But anyway, I may have seen a spaceship the other day. Who knows? But that's life. Life is full of everything. And if you take the time just to enjoy the journey that you're on, everything always works out exactly as you need it to. So blessings for today, and I'll see you Wednesday. Bye now.